Welcome to Candid Conversations with Doc V on the WWW Network, where real talk about real experiences and circumstances is the norm and not the exception, to help you heal, rebuild, and transform your life from the inside out and put you back in business. Hi, I'm Doc V, the Pivot Maestro, and your corner woman, here to provide truth and transparency in conversation to help you navigate the waters and think without a box. What is my why? You are my why and my motivation to just provide you a safe haven, to create that safe haven for you, to validate you and your experience, and to provide hope and freedom in your thinking and being so that you may live the life and lifestyle you were meant to lead. All are welcome to the conversation with our topics running the gamut and surrounding issues, women's issues that are faced every day in life, the workplace, career transition, and business. Always providing revelation, reconciliation, and renaissance with one mission in mind: to help you define your path and one message to let you know that you are mission essential. For the past few weeks, our pivots have come from concepts in my international bestseller, Love the Skin You're In: How to Conquer Life Through Divergent Thinking. So this is a book that's available, my book that's available on Amazon. Just type in my name, Dr. Virginia LeBlanc, and you'll find it there. And it's also available on my website, definingpaths.online. So last week, we talked about embracing your divergent soul. And the week prior, we talked about going against the grain. This week, our conversation is about and for all of those seeking their purpose and trying to connect the dots. So the last episode, we spoke about our perspectives as children, that in our childhood, we're still in our innocence without cares and without concern about the world and anything other than expressing our individuality and exploring our surroundings, right? Do you recall those days? I know I do. I shared last week my story about pretending I was Wonder Woman jumping from one bunk bed to another, right? Fearless. We are fearless until we are taught to think inside that box, and learn fearful behaviors. Our personalities and aptitude then become shaped and determined by that box, right? And remember, as children, it was easy to connect the dots until the day when someone told you it was the wrong dot. Think about that day. Do you recall it? I do. I recall several of those that started to shape the path that I was going down, that was laid out by someone else and not me. Think about it. When they told you that was the wrong dot and you departed from the path that you were on. Family, friends, social paradigms, conditioning, it all causes us to suppress our passions, our dreams, the dreams that we have as children, even though they might sound and be outlandish to anyone else listening. But to us, we believe it in our soul, right? And there's something connecting and bringing forth, wanting to birth that dream in our life. So in addition to losing or suppressing our individuality, when we're told that's the wrong dot, it's pretty much game over. It's like that light is covered up by that bushel, right, that we talked about a few weeks ago. So to start connecting the dots as to, why you're unhappy, why you're unfulfilled, why you're frustrated, why you're in despair, why you're repeating the same behaviors, you must open your eyes. We all must open our eyes to the facts, to the realities of our life, and rediscover or discover, in a lot of cases, your individuality, right? Our individuality. It's time to remove the blinders, folks. It's time to remove the blinders and the mask that we've been wearing to heal, to reveal, and to rebuild the true you, right? So the true you is calling. That's our soul calling us. It's calling us to that restlessness, to finding that purpose as to why we're here, so that we might have a fighting chance to arrive at your sustainable wins, at your purpose for being here, right? So it's important. It's important when you're looking to connect the dots that you seek revelation that will prepare you for stage 2 of my 3 R's, reconciliation. Stage 1 being revelation, stage 2 being reconciliation. And then when you have found your way to reconciliation, to addressing and resolving those pain points in your life, then you're ready to move to stage 3 with your eye on and toward renaissance, rebirth in your life, right? So let's walk through the process. I prepared a little something from, kind of a bit of a thought-provoking little pamphlet that I call the 6 steps process to connecting the dots. So let's start off with the question. Who defines normal and why do we buy into it? Who defines normal and why do you buy into it? Living is anything but normal. The world shuns our divergence. It shuns us. It shuns the divergence from normal. But I encourage you to embrace it. Normalcy precludes individuality. Let me say that again. Normalcy precludes individuality. What if we all met life with courage and vigor to be who we are and accepted each other for it? There would be no bullying. There would be no condemnation of any sort. As we travel through life, some of us start to feel different, not quite comfortable in our own skin, right? Like we do not belong, or even like outsiders trying to fit in. I know I was one of those. I was like that. You are different and we're meant to be so. That is a revelation. If you've not thought about that, you were meant to be so. What if we all got busy being anything but normal? Remember the chapter in my book that I talked about? When we would all be living and not merely existing, that's when we'll be anything but normal. Then we would all be living and not merely existing. How many of us want to live, right, and not simply exist? Not simply go to a 9-to-5 every day, not simply just check the boxes of what your day is supposed to look like, right? Think about the divorce rate in the world. People are checking boxes. They're forgetting who they are. They're never learning who their spouse is, was or is, right? Or what they want to be in the future, because we've been packaged in these neat little boxes, right? And we stopped exploring. We stopped exploring ourselves, much less each other, right? In those relationships. So the reconciliation here is, looking back over my life in seasons of change, I have come to realize that life has no coincidences. Everything happens for a reason. Once you get out of your own way and find your way to this perspective, you will have your aha moments. You will have your revelations. The pieces of the puzzle will start to fit, followed by acceptance of your journey and forgiveness for yourself and others. How many of us are still struggling with forgiving ourselves about this, that, or the other, right? It's a process. It's a journey. The journey, it may be scary. It may be a scary thing and call your world into question. However, the destination is a beautiful place to arrive. It's a beautiful place to arrive and much more rewarding than trying to fit in. And I am a living witness, okay? So the revelation, our next revelation, are you playing small because of fear Are you playing small because of fear? Channel your fear into that strength, right? Embrace who you are. We talk all the time about embracing fear and making it your ally. You embrace fear, when you acknowledge fear, when you're aware of the fear and you take it captive, it will become your ally. So embrace who you are and the potential that is within. When you do, you will be able to accept and literally love the skin you're in. And I was not trying to rhyme there. The Renaissance. Be convinced in your heart. When you can be convinced in your heart and mind that good things are set aside to make way for great things to arrive in your life, that's when you have found the true you. You are starting to walk in that new understanding, in that new space and place. When you've answered the call of your soul, right? And whatever that is. So another revelation rather, we're gonna have a lot of these, so get prepared. You're never going to become who you are, who you were meant to be until you prepare, right? So some of you right now might be freaking out thinking, oh my gosh, I have to get this degree, I have to get that degree. Okay, so all of us out here with degrees, including PhDs, right? How many, unless you are training to be a physician of some sort, how many of us, and even those who leave that profession, how many of us to pivot have gotten a degree to pivot? Or when life happens, you don't have time to pivot. I mean, to get a degree, right? You have to pivot. You have to, basically, it's a fight or flee, right? So I want you all to give yourself space for grace and stop thinking that all of your education has to be through a traditional means. There are those who do not have the ability to go to a college or university and pay for a degree. You know, in America, that is not free. So the preparation that I'm talking about is seeking the opportunity, preparing your mind first and foremost, right? So if you're thinking like that, that's something you must overcome. That's a part of your preparation process. But seek those opportunities, those resources, whether it's organizations, whether it's community affiliations online, on Facebook or wherever, right? Seek and prepare. And think about this. However old you are, whatever stage you are in life, think about this. You have been in beta. You have been in a beta of some sort. You just have not connected the dots as to what that beta has been, right? And that's where you're going to start to uncover and find your purpose and connect the dots. So remodel your mindset and face life head on, guys. Stop digging your head in the sand. Stop burying the pain, the hurt. Acknowledge it, recognize it, embrace it, right? And use it as your power. Challenges will come and are supposed to come. Who told you they're not? Challenges are supposed to come. They come to mold us, to shape us, to guide us on our path so that we can define our path. The problem arises when we are unprepared to meet life. Until you reprogram and train your thinking, you will never rise above your lowest level of belief. Your lowest level of belief will always dictate your path. Life will control you. What you believe is what you will achieve. How many of us have heard that, right? So true. And it's a constant battle and struggle that we constantly must be aware of and face in the ring of life, right? It's a challenger. So the reconciliation here. So think about this to start to reconcile this revelation. Are you ready for a new course? Are you? Life and living taught me to be open to a new course, not fear life's challenges, but instead to expect them. When you expect them, you are empowered because nothing will shake you in the way that it might have before you understood and knew that pain point, right? That it was there in your subconscious. They are necessities. Life challenges are necessities. You must be open to change. You must be open to challenge. That's how we grow. You must go through something to learn how to overcome something, right? How is she going to learn how to overcome? Stand up against the challengers in the boxing ring that we call life. You must go through something to find and tune into your respective channel, right? So how do I tune into my own channel? Might be the question you're asking. Let's start with self-awareness. Let's start with acknowledgement. Let's start with examination. How many of us actually ever get to that place in our life? As well as an understanding and acceptance of reality and the world around you are just some of the ways that you can start to tune into your own channel, right? Turn off these news stations programming that's teaching you and feeding you all of this conditioned way to think, right? That's causing you to dislike your enemy or your neighbor because you think they're your enemy because they don't look like you or they don't think like you or they don't go to the same places or whatever the ridiculous things that separate us in life. That's how you start to tune into your channel. Understanding that your emotions are tied to certain senses that trigger memories and bypass your conscious mind, right? Once you start to learn how to address the emotions, it will empower you, right? It will empower you because meanwhile, your crew, the subconscious, is in charge, right? All of this programming that's been put into your mind from TV programs that you watch. You know how, there are no good men out there who, never treat women right, or vice versa. Men, you've had a few experiences with women, our men who are on the show. You've had a few experiences and you're just jaded, completely jaded. And you're watching these programs and you're thinking, oh, yeah, he's right, right? And you don't even process or realize that man has been hurt just like you. The blind leading the blind, right? For lack of a better analogy. So the senses trigger automatic responses. You must learn how to counter these by finding those things that reinforce positivity in your life. Constantly check and address your mindset is the bottom line. Mindset affects performance. It affects the performance. But guess what? The best news, folks, you can always do something about it. Change the mind, change it. Do not be afraid of change in career or personal development. New beginnings give us a clean slate and new opportunity. And it's one more dot, right? To connecting the dots along to find your purpose, to find your passion, right? And purpose. You are what you think, bottom line. Program it or be programmed. Get rid of old programming. Your subconscious will self-fulfill the prophecy of the words you speak and think. So what's our next revelation? Are you feeling insecure? If so, why? Do not feed your insecurities. Once you learn how to respect and love the skin you're in, literally and figuratively, remember that message is always twofold. Insecurities will fade when you tune into your channel and not the white noise of social expectations, social media, social whatever, that is feeding the negativity. Have you been playing it safe, trying to adapt to the norm? Let's have another revelation. Have you been playing it safe, trying to be normal, staying in or around the box, hiding your light? Why? Is it fear? Where does that fear come from? What is the pain point that's tied to that fear? This is a part of the reconciliation process. Have you been playing it safe? I was, I don't come from money. I'm self-built. I do not come from money. And because I came from an impoverished to middle class background that just kind of fluctuated depending on the circumstances in life that were occurring. I had real issues and I had a dysfunctional relationship with money, with finances, and it was the root of so much, and feelings of unworthiness and tied to just so much. What was that pain point? Making me think I couldn't build a successful business or I wasn't worthy of being paid my worth. Think about these things. Being different and thinking differently is a privilege and not a burden. We talked about this a few episodes ago, right? So one of my favorite quotes by William Shakespeare: all the world's a stage and all the men and women merely players. They have their exits and their entrances. And one man in his time, or one woman in his time, or her time, plays many parts. Think about this. Think about this. William Shakespeare said this, right? How many centuries ago? Think about this. Many exits, entrances, many parts. It's never too late to define your path, to redefine your path, to pivot, to make a change, right? To get on that path you were meant to be on. Fear is a thwarter of dreams. It plays tricks on us. It hides our, it hides our chances and causes us to fear change in our course. It's all in your mind, folks. It's all in your mind. As my adorable companion says all the time, fear is a free disease. It is. It is. Take a leap of faith. Seize your chance. Fear has no power over you that you do not give it. I've said this, I will continue to say it. Fear has no power over you that you do not give to it. All you need to do is change your perspective. The days of traditional thinking about making a lifelong career in one industry to achieve success, they're long gone, long gone. Do not be afraid of that. It's okay. It's a part of life. It's change, right? Think about it. If the premise behind diversifying your financial portfolio has proven to provide a greater chance of sheltering you from certain risk, adverse loss, or total ruin, would it not stand to reason that diversifying your skill sets and experiences and your capabilities might provide a similar outcome in defining your career path, in defining your purpose, in finding your purpose? So many of us, coming through COVID, living in COVID, you've heard of the Great Resignation. You've heard of just everyone pivoting, starting to pivot because they're feeling unfulfilled, they're unhappy. It's okay. It's okay. So another question for you. How do I connect the dots? Where do I even start? Think of this as an exercise in creativity, a challenge to a riddle. Don't make it difficult. Just keep it simple. Stop presenting your mind with excuses. Bottom line, that's the first thing you need to do. They build bridges to nowhere. Decide and tame your impulse to retreat. It is time to access that self-assertive, creative drive and start connecting the dots. If you do, doors will open and it will all start to make sense. You remember what I said a moment ago? You've been in beta all your life for something. You just have to connect the dots to figure out what it is. And playing it safe, staying in that little zone where you're comfortable, you'll never do it. So, you might say, I do not understand. I don't understand. You say you have tried and you failed before. Okay, try again. You cannot have a testimony without a test. And to walk in your purpose requires tests. Get up off the mat. You haven't been knocked out. You're still breathing. Get up off the mat. Bernice Johnson Reagan rightly said, life's challenges are not supposed to paralyze you. They're supposed to help you discover who you are, ladies and gentlemen. Contemplate that. And another quote that I absolutely love and adore. Courage is not the absence of fear, but rather the judgment that something else is more important than fear. Let's contribute to Ambrose Redmond. How many of us have made those decisions, have stepped out on courage in fear, but we embraced fear and it became our ally to build something beautiful? That's my story of defining paths. That's why I do what I do. That's why my mission is to heal, rebuild, and transform lives and businesses online from the inside out, right? It's my personal story. You have to define your story and connect the dots. You are that something else. The courage is not the absence of fear, but rather the judgment that something else is more important. That is you. You are the something else. You are more important than fear. So how do you get back up from failure? Life experiences, how we think in the paths we choose, play important roles. All true. Focus on solutions, not the problem. Baby steps. Then start to walk, then start to run. It does nothing for morale or motivation to dwell on the problem. You may not see the way forward completely clearly, but simply move toward your goal. Move toward your goal and you'll start to summon the law of attraction. Just keep moving and focusing forward. Lay out the puzzle, find the connecting pieces. If that opportunity fits your now and the door is open, go with it. Don't overthink it. Recalibrate later. Just keep connecting the dots with a little imagination. Do not argue for perceived limitations. We're all good at that. I'm great at that. Move to action. And your decisiveness will overcome doubt and fear every time to liberate and empower you. You are not in competition. You are not in competition with anyone but yourself. Remember that. Meet your challenges as they come, right? And it's just so much more that we can talk about and connecting the dots. Actually, I may bring this back next week. But just know, while multiple pieces may not seem to fit, your goal is to find the similarities and connect the dots. Doing so, it requires operating without that box, folks, and trusting in something bigger and higher than you, right? And so what if you make a wrong choice? Reality is what you want it to be, what you want to make it to be. So define your own path and do not concern yourself with the road not taken. The road less traveled, as I've told you before, will make all the difference. When you do so, you will find your purpose. All right. So I want you to remember that, folks. I want you to be encouraged in heart, mind, and soul, right? You can do this. You can pivot. Whatever you need to pivot in, I can't tell you what it is. Well, if you want to jump on a discovery call, I possibly can help you with that. But I want you to just know that you are more than a conqueror. You are capable. And your passions, your purpose are waiting on you. So fight the fight. You have the heart of a warrior, and the heart of a warrior is undeniable. Respect the journey and appreciate the fight. It will all be worth it. And may the truth of who you are set you free to find and walk in your purpose. And I want you to go get it. So I hope you found some nuggets in this episode today. Operate in your freedom, in your empowerment, with understanding you can connect the dots. You can connect the dots, but don't try to do it alone. Come and join us in our Defining Paths community membership. Join us on Facebook. Get in community. Reach out to me at definingpaths.online and let's get you into Discovery Call. And let me help you. Let me help you learn how to love the skin you're in. Help you define, clear up those pain points that you've been struggling with so that you can reconcile them and you can walk in the true you, in your renaissance, in your rebirth. You've got this and I've got your back. So join us next week. And until then, what is our mantra, ladies? Strong is the new sexy. So believe it, be strong in mind, body, and soul. Define your path and love the skin you're in. I am Doc V, the Pivot Maestro, and always your corner woman. I am my sister's keeper, and I will see you next week.